Well, good morning, crochet friends. I thought before I sat down, I'd just give you a little squiz of the craft room at the moment as I prepped to bring things in here to give you updates on. Starting with our fairy dust blanket, and I have panels for the trowel and trowel triangle blanket. Some notes to sum up on the 2025 house blanket. All my little dear crochet buddies. A couple more notes. There's my by hook or by crook cake. And I did bring this wall hanging in to the craft room. It's one that I did quite a number of years ago, joining in with one of the Christmas, December crochet alongs. And there's I still get a kick out of seeing that can that the girls got me. And then of course I had a productive weekend tying up into winding up some yarn balls, and all the yarn balls that are half and left over from our corner to corner squares. And then this weekend I also needed to catch up on some more DIY crochet stars. There is a little video where you could crochet a star with me that I put out last week Wednesday, and these are some of those that I made as gift packs that I'll be dropping off over the weekend. Just a sweet little end of the year. I made some handmade Merry Christmas and Happy New Year cards to go in with it, and for this I used Kismet Lollipops Twinkle Double Knitting with a 4mm hook, and as you can see, so neat and tidy. I also got to tidy up those yarn ends. Oh my goodness, what is this? TT, Travel Teddy. He's just abandoned his sweater. Well, we'll have to find him, won't we? He's running around wild and free. I wonder if he came over to visit. Snow time, playtime in crochet. Do you want to build a snowman? There's our original snowman that we started off with. He has his sweater and beanie. And there's also a Christmas pudding beanie. And for week 4, we added some friends. Now this little cardinal is pinned to the top of this beanie for now, but is he not just the most darling little bird? And there we have our snowman buddy. Such a teeny tiny little snowman. And even though it's boiling hot outside, we have 34 degrees today, they do seem to be quite fine in the craft room. And then we had, of course, our Christmas tree with a star. I didn't mention the bunting down there. We had our little Christmas wreath. Also used some of that Kismet Twinkle for that. And then we have this tiny little teddy. Oh my goodness, is this not too adorable? Look at this little teddy. And he sits so sweet there. And another one of the friends I did manage to do on Monday is this little puppy. Don't think I don't see you there. This little puppy with his collar. And there is TT. TT, I can see why you are hiding behind that tinsel, feeling so wild and free. You also found a Christmas hat and couldn't resist being part of the snow time playtime in crochet. Don't these characters just give you so much fun? Yes, yes, I hear you, TT. I need to make you a vest. But for now, it's only here amongst your friends. I'm pretty sure they don't mind you being wild and free. Hello crochet friends and welcome to G Crochet Off the Hook. I'm G, Geraldine, sharing my love of crochet. Today is Wednesday, the 26th of December 2025, and this is the status of my crochet adventures. I'm going to start by just sharing with you that last week Wednesday I did post a DIY crochet star, which is this little star over here. I have made them for gifts for children for schools and also to give to some of my yarny friends, and I've been doing this for quite a number of years. And all I do is a little crochet star with a little num-num and a little handmade card that changes every year, where I just say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And for this I used a 4mm crochet hook and the Kismet Lollipop Twinkle. You could make it with any yarn and any size hook, teeny tiny ones or big ones with chunky yarn. So I've made just over this weekend. I had made originally 30, they went out a while ago, and then I made a few more for some dinner party gifts to go on the table, and then I had to replenish and make some for my yarny friends, which I should be gifting this weekend. My next crochet adventure was waiting to see all the videos that I tune into for on a Sunday, and of course the one that I was waiting for the most at the moment was Do You Want to Build a Snowman? And that is with Cassandra from Craftably Ever After and Robyn at CROCHETJOLLY on Instagram. And week 4 is available on Cassandra's Craftably Ever After blog, and we got to make some friends for our snowman. I just brought a few of them over from where I hope the video footage I took earlier on is where they actually are, on a different table. But we had this gorgeous little teeny tiny snowman. For all these makes I used a 2.5mm hook and Al Yarn's Charity DK. Look at Teddy in his scarf and his little tail. And for week 4 we also got to make a kitty, a puppy and a cardinal, but they are all hopefully in the footage that I was able to share with you. And of course TT, Travel Teddy, he abandoned his sweater because I had not yet been able to make him a vest for this hot weather. He just hid himself in the tinsel so he could be sure to be in the pic with a Christmas hat that he picked up along the way. But what a lot of fun. Thank you, Cassandra, for these little crochet alongs where we get to make toys that we can share with little ones and just encourage that all important, which I sometimes think gets lost with all these video games and things. Instead of touching hard plastic, little ones can play with some different textures and make up stories of their own. So that was the Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Of course, there was so much sports this weekend, and my sport weekend project is the Fairy Dust Mosaic Crochet Blanket. But I do find it a little bit difficult when there's a lot of action on the telly to actually get cracking with counting stitches. So this is still working up really slowly, but I can share my progress. We have definitely revealed almost the knee of the fairy. There's a wing developing here. We can see some more of the bluebells. There's our flower in the center, and then the mirrored side. So although progress is slow, I can definitely see the picture forming, and that does get me excited that when I have a chance to sit down and work on it, I can't wait to see what is revealed next. So with that one, I'm on to, we've completed chart 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I have just started chart 5, row 40, and I think that means we are well on our way to revealing the top half of the fairies. That's a lot of fun. Then another project that I'm working on, and I did try to take some, should I say, elegant footage of me arranging my triangles on the carpet, but that is not something we're going to share. I'd have to get better at positioning myself, filming from the top while I'm on the carpet. So I'll save those unpleasantries. In fact, it's been deleted, and I'll just share the progress with you. So I made 33 of the smaller triangles and 4 of these, and I don't have my notes with me, so I can't remember all the names of the triangles. And I've chosen to join my triangles with the zigzag single crochet or slip stitch chain 1 all together. So for my size blanket, I have 5 sections. So we have these little ones. I have placed the colors all randomly, and then I've chosen to do the joining on both sides, and then I'm going to use another color and join this to the next panel. And here's the big one, and I'm using yarn ends that I've had, or yarn skeins that I've had for a long time. So the colors were sort of random, and the placing of them, I'm not being very strict either. It's come together randomly. The other 2, the other large triangle and the third panel is still on the couch in the lounge where I'm busy joining them together. So that's sort of more like a sneak peek of where I am on my Trails triangle blanket, and I'm going to link all of the information for you if you're wanting to get started on that project for yourself. It's by the lovely Jill from Gumleaf Crochet and Yarn, and she takes you through everything. Lots of options, and just let your creativity flow, which is what I'm letting happen with this one. And I'm really, really enjoying it. And then to end off with my crochet adventure status at the moment, which I do realize is lacking very much in some amigurumi, but I do like to make amigurumi and actually feel the little characters, which is why Do You Want to Build a Snowman was so much fun. They were small and unique, and you were creating a story as you crocheted them together. So allow me, for those that may be interested, to share a little bit of information and stats regarding the 2025 house blanket that I've been doing. It was hosted and is hosted by Sarah from Repeat Craft Me. I have finished all 12 of the squares for the year, and for all these squares I've been using Al Yarn's Charity Sometimes also the chick, they are basically exactly the same, except the one you can only buy in a supermarket. It's the only yarn that I've ever been able to buy in a supermarket. And the other is the most popular in all the yarn shops, which is the Charity. I'm using a 4.5mm Clover Moor hook, and the squares that I've made have turned out to be 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. Now, this is the yarn that I was using, the Charity. Oh, I wanted to do this. This is basically wrapping up skeins that are sort of just more than half still, or they're holding their shape, so I haven't wound them on the wool winder. That one. And then the yarn ends, I don't think it will fall, are all of these, and I did spend the weekend winding up little cakes so that I have, it's a whole tub full of all the yarn, these 2 tubs that remain from crocheting all these squares throughout the whole year. What I love about this though is when we have smaller amigurumi projects, it's great to dip in here because 10 to 1 you have enough of a color to make a little character, and then there are fun yarn ends to use to make accessories as well. And it's just small little tidbits that you can pick up and make a project with. So, and if any of that does still remain, I'll most probably make another scrap blanket. But let me share with you very quickly some of the stats. So there are 12 squares. This is the boring part with a little bit of talking, and then I'm going to just show all the squares with you. So, broken down, for all 12 squares through the course of the year, I used 34 different colors. And I know that the owl range has more colors than that, but these are the colors that I chose for these projects. So there I used 34 different colors throughout all the squares. One color I used 7 times. So in 7 of the squares, this one color appears. Could you guess which color was used 7 times? There were 5 colors that I used in 5 different squares. 10 colors I used in 10 of the squares. 15 colors were used only once in a square, and 3 colors used in 4 different squares. And on my Instagram and Facebook and during the year, I did mention, share with you guys all the different color names. There are 34 colors. I'm not going to read them all out, but I do love to also choose yarn sometimes just for the sake of the names that they are called. So this is most probably the last time you'll see all the squares as single squares, and then in December, which I'll most probably only work on in January, but in December I'll learn what our options are on how to join these squares or whether I'll use them to make individual blankets. Decisions have not yet been made. So let's start off with, all the way back in January, we made the winter cabin square. And for this square, I used 5 different colors. In February, we had the birdhouse. And for this square, I used 7 different colors. Then in March we had the castle, and the castle used 5 colors. In April we did the barn, and for the barn I used 7 different colors. And then in May we had the camper van, and for the camper van I used the most amount of colors. There are 8 different colors used for the camper van. In June we had the beach house, and for the beach house I used 7 different colors. In July we made a lighthouse, and the lighthouse I used 6 different colors. In August we had the schoolhouse, and I used 5 different colors. Does that include the bell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't include the bell, so actually there are 6 colors here. And then for September we had the tree house, and I used 6 different colors. And more recently and fresh in the mind is the Halloween house, and this was the one that used the least amount of colors. There were only 4 colors used for the Halloween house. And I also made a single crochet one that really does look like a haunted house. I did struggle with the windows. And then for November we had Snoopy on his doghouse. And for this one, oh, I stand corrected, I used 4 colors. So that would be the Halloween house and the dog house were the squares that used the least amount of different colors. And last but not least is the gingerbread house. And for the gingerbread house, I used 6 different colors. And that's all 12 squares for the 2025 house blanket, and this was using a 4.5mm more clover hook, the owl yarns, and these squares are corner to corner with a half double crochet, and that feels quite heavy to hold them like this. And that's a wrap for where my crochet adventures are at the minute. Thank you so much for letting me share them with you. I do have a Beanie-tastic 13 that I need to get under my belt because I'm already starting with the next new beanie. So I do beanies twice a week, and I seem to be gathering them really nice and fast. And the next one is going to be super exciting, as I have an adorable baby beanie and some baby socks to share with you all. So until I see you all again, stay warm and safe in the Northern Hemisphere, and if you're down south, make sure to keep yourself hydrated and sunscreen at all times in the sun. And when you get a chance, find a cool spot and have a lot of joy with your crochet time. Bye for now.